video, we're going to talk about this one of the market structure called as the perfect competition or pure competition. And later on, we will explain to you the following objectives, such as the conditions and implications of the market structure, how this price is set and revenue is being maximized, and what will be the profits and costs of the firm by comparing the total revenue and the total cost. And lastly, what is the use of the marginal revenue and the marginal cost in maximizing the firm's profit. So when we say about perfect competition, generally we come up with the idea that there is a rivalry in the market. There are a lot of people or firms competing to gain a higher profit based on their products and services that they produce. And since there is a competition, it is expected that it has a lot of sellers and buyers. And firms are said to be in perfect competition when these following conditions that I'm going to mention will occur in the market. First, many firms is producing identical products. Second, many buyers are available to buy a product and services. And of course, many sellers also are available to sell a product and services. And third, all the participants in the market, such as the buyers and sellers, have all this perfect information to make irrational decisions and about the product which is being bought or sold. So they all know of what is happening in the market. They were able to identify of what goods and services is being sold for that particular price and who is selling it and whom they sell for that particular product and services. And lastly, a perfectly competitive market is no barriers to entry or exit, which means all firms can enter and leave the market without any restrictions. So in most competitive markets, firms here is known as the price taker. Price taker means that every individual or a firm must accept the prevailing equilibrium price in the market because of the pressure that they encounter in competing within the market. Therefore, if a firm charges higher than the prevailing market price for their products, then this may result to decrease its sale to competitors because consumers will simply purchase to the different lower cost seller to the extent that all firms in the market sells an identical goods or services. But of course, not just the firms is considered here as price takers, but consumers as well. Why? Because since the price is determined by the supply and demand in the market and not by individual buyers and sellers, so both of them can be considered as price takers. A price-taking consumer assumes that he or she can purchase any quantity in the market without affecting the price. Similarly, a price-taking firm assumes that they can sell whatever it wishes at the market price without affecting the price.
So Filipinos are very good example for perfect competition. No, so basically, no, so next is perfect competition takes a price, no? So in the equilibrium, pag yung product mo ay the price is higher and the price of your product is lower, no? So there are many factors on that, no? So even though it is the product is identical, hindi dapat yung price mo ay mataas, hindi rin bababa. It is very equal. Perfect competition takes price, no? It is very important to take price, no? So in the equilibrium, for example, you have the same products to the other firms, no? So but your price of your product is very high, no? So basically the consumer will go to the other firm because it is the same in the same product, but their price is in equilibrium, no? So you might be lugi, no? So but then when your product is lower than equilibrium, many will go to you, but it is lugi yapon, lugi, no? So it is very important to be a price taker, no? So a perfect competition is a hypothetical extreme, no? So there are lots of the same identical products, no? So you will also take the price, no? It is very important. The same product, no? But you need to take price. So in the long run, perfect competition firms will react to the profit, no? When you are profitable, you will increase your production, no? Basically. And likewise, when you have losses, no? You will not increase your production, or you will exit to the market, no? So the important thing when you are in the perfect competition is you need to take price, no? So that is very important. Don't be pressured when you have lots of competitors, no? So it is very usual to have competitors, no? So but you need to take price, no? Don't sell your product in the higher price or in the lower price, just in the middle, no? So it is equilibrium, and it is very important to take the good quality, no? Good quality of your product, no? The same product, different in quality. You have a good quality than to the other firms, no? Then your price is in the equilibrium, no? So you will consider that to have a profit and to produce many products or services in your market. So that's all.
So next to discuss is the efficiency in perfectly competitive markets, wherein the result of the outputs of quantities of goods and services demonstrate both productive and allocative efficiency. Productive efficiency is defined as producing goods and services for the lowest cost. It also occurs on the production possibility frontier. It also occurs when a firm is combining resources in such a way as to produce a given output at the lowest possible average total cost. Costs will be minimized at the lowest point on a firm's short-run average total cost curve. This also means that the average total cost is equal to marginal cost, because the marginal cost always cuts the average total cost at the lowest point on the ATC curve. So next is the allocative efficiency. Allocative efficiency is concerned with the optimal distribution of goods and services, also to the allocation of resources in a society. It is also occurs when consumers pay a market price that reflects on the private marginal cost of production. The condition for allocative efficiency of a firm is to produce an output wherein the marginal cost is equal to the price.
So let's consider what it would mean if compared to the level of the output at the allocative efficient choice wherein price is equal to marginal cost, which firms produce a greater quantity of flowers. So as the firms produce a greater quantity of flowers, then marginal cost of production would increase, so price is lesser than marginal cost. So as a greater quantity of flowers that being produced by the firms, then marginal cost of production would increase, so price is lesser than marginal cost. In marginal cost of producing additional flowers would be greater than the benefits to the society, because it measured to the ability of the people to buy that product. Then for the society as a whole, since the costs are being surpassed by the benefits, it would make sense that they would produce low quantity of goods. So when perfectly competitive firms maximize their profits by producing the quantity which price is equal to marginal cost, they also ensure that the benefits to consumers of what they are buying, in which it is measured by the price that they are willing to pay, is equal to the cost of society of producing the marginal units, as measured by the marginal cost the firm must pay. So allocative efficiency holds. When we say that a perfectly competitive market in the long run is both productive and allocative efficiency, it also depends on the consumer's ability to pay because it is reflected to their daily income. So vice versa, some people cannot afford that product because they don't have an insufficient income. Then, these are the key points on how perfectly competitive firms make output decisions. First, as a perfectly competitive firm produce a greater quantity of output, so definitely the total revenue would increase and being determined by the market given price. Then the second one is the profits will be highest and losses will be smallest. For a perfectly competitive firm, at the quantity of output where total revenues exceed the total cost by the greatest amount, or total revenues fall short at total cost by the smallest amount.
A perfectly competitive firm has only one major decision to make: what quantity to produce. To understand why this is so, let's consider a different way of writing the basic definition of profit. So the first definition of profit is: profit is equals to total revenue minus the total cost. This means that it is the sum remaining after all costs are deducted from the income of the business. So the second basic definition of profit is: profit is equals to price times quantity minus average cost times quantity produced. Since a perfectly competitive firm must accept the price for its outputs as determined by the product's market demand and supply, it cannot choose the price it charges. In other words, the price is already determined in the profit equation. So, the perfectly competitive firm can sell any number of units at exactly the same price. Since a perfectly competitive firm is a price taker, it means that it must accept the price at which it sells goods. So if a perfectly competitive firm attempts to charge a tiny amount more than the market price, it will be unable for that firm to make any sales. This implies that the firm faces a perfectly elastic demand curve. For its product, buyers are willing to buy any number of units of output from the firm at the market price. When the perfectly competitive firm chooses which quantity to produce, this quantity, along with the prices prevailing in the market for outputs and inputs, will determine the firm's total revenue, total cost, and ultimately the level of profits. A perfectly competitive firm can sell as large a quantity as it wishes, as long as it accepts the prevailing market price. So the total revenue is going to increase as the firm sells more. But depende pa siya sa price ng isa ka product and the number of units sold.